This is part 13 of actually it's part 14 of our 100% walkthrough for
this is
Oracle of
start
Ages.
Already.
Yeah, I got one of the things right there. I got Oracle of Ages, the game we're actually playing, right?
Hey,
but
there you go.
part 14, we'll be going through the second part of Moonlit Grotto, the third dungeon in the game. We'll be taking on the mini boss and actually also the boss. Duh. It's the second and final part of the dungeon, so...
At the very end of the previous part, we got the dungeon item, which is the seed shooter. You said you actually found it to be very useful throughout the game, and you used it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of it, though.
It's not that I'm a big fan of it. It's just that it's an item that you actually use throughout the game, like you said. And like a lot of items that we get in dungeons, as we kind of mentioned before on our channel, like you get them in a dungeon and then you don't use them that much throughout the game, like the spitter, our favorite item. So it's just nice to actually, it's not a great weapon, but it's nice that you continue to use it throughout the game.
That is true, and they do actually build some pretty solid puzzles around it, especially within this dungeon. But yeah, just for me, you know me, I want an aggressive offensive weapon that I'm going to kill stuff with, you know?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, though, with the seed shooter, you can actually kill stuff with it. Now, it kind of depends on what the enemy is, and you have to use like a certain seed to do it, but...
That's true.
I mean, I think it's kind of a cool concept, and then also the fact that you can shoot diagonal. Like, you'll see it's like kind of bounce off walls and off these like little rods or whatever they're called, and... I believe it's the first game we've actually ever gotten that item too, is it not?
I believe it is well. It is as well, and I'm pretty sure it's only in this and Oracle of Seasons. I can't think of any other game that it appeared in other than those two.
Well, I remember in Link's Awakening, I think we got we got the magic powder in Link's Awakening. I don't think we had the bag of seeds in Link's Awakening, did we?
No.
Okay.
But I will say, I do kind of like how you mentioned, like, there are different seed types. Like, we've got the, ember seeds that, like...
Yeah, there's 5 of them total. I don't know what all of them are, so I'm not going to try to name them all right now. But, we got Ember, we got Pegasus, Scent Seeds, Mystery Seeds, and
so there's
maybe...
a good variety.
There's, like, a warping one that we'll get later on, maybe called Wind Seeds or Warp Seeds.
I think it is the Wind Seed, yeah.
Wind Seeds, so there are 5 of them. I kind of do like that they do different things. And you'll see throughout the game...
variety.
Yeah, definitely. You'll see in the final boss actually uses Scent Seeds to defeat an enemy, so I kind of do like that aspect of it.
Well, it's always nice when the final boss actually incorporates the dungeon item because, we've complained about that in other recordings in other games when, the final boss doesn't require the dungeon item. You're like, well, come on, that's half the purpose of it.
Definitely. Now, one thing I love is this mini boss right here because we get to use a shovel, and we hardly ever use the shovel to take on an enemy now. It makes a lot of sense why we don't use the shovel exactly, but I just kind of really like that. It's very unique, like, and just finally we use a shovel on the enemy, so just very cool mini boss, I thought.
Well, and plus he kind of gives it away at the very beginning. He's like, as long as I'm underground, your attacks you can't hurt me, or whatever it is he says at the very beginning. But it is kind of cool to actually get to use the shovel, like you said, just as an offensive weapon for once, because it's so often we barely use it in the games. So for it to actually be used against a mini-boss was a really cool idea.
Now see, Red, you sit there and you say it's like a good clue and everything. For me, that would take me forever to figure out because when it's obvious and right there in front of you, I tend to like overthink it. And that's probably one of those where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Did I use my sword to somehow stick it in like the ground or something like that to figure out? So those clues for me are always the ones that give me the most. They're like literally right there in front of you.
It is. One thing I didn't really like about that mini-boss, though, was the fact that we got the dungeon item before we even fought the mini-boss. And to me, that just seems backwards a little bit. I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Well, in this game, we actually don't get the item. Well, we don't get the item in that room. Like, you usually just get a fairy. I think it's like we go to the room after that to get the item. So, I kind of agree with you. Like, there's always that reward of having a weapon or the dungeon item after you fight the mini-boss. And when you don't get that, it kind of just, it doesn't throw the dungeon off, but I guess it just doesn't feel the same as other dungeons, so...
Well, at first I thought the reward would like be the big key or whatever, but then we started to do a few more things before we got the big key. So it's just, or boss key, whatever it's called in this game.
It's called the big key. It's called the big key in this game.
But I will say though, these couple of rooms right here where we've got to hit all these switches using that little lever or pole, whatever you want to call it, it could be so difficult without practice.
Oh, it definitely could, and that's why we practice before we do these recordings right here. I still want to say something about structure. Oh, that's what, like, I like structure in my life. I'm a very routine guy, so when you throw like a an item that's not their mini boss, it's actually before a mini boss.
Yeah.
Man, it throws off my whole life cycle. Like, my whole day is just ruined from it. So
hey, I can vouch that you are definitely a creature of habit who likes structure. So
definitely. That's why I smoke so many cigars and drink so many beers.
Yeah, that's why. I will say, I've got to say though, I kind of mentioned how I like a more offensive weapon you can use on enemies, but like we did see there, we used the seed shooter on the pea hats and actually burned them, which was great because those pea hats they're always annoying in every Zelda game. So just having a projectile weapon that we could shoot them with and burn them was actually really cool.
We know what's weird about those pea hats is if, like, when they flop in the air a little bit, like, you actually can't hit them with your sword. But like what's weird is you shoot that seed shooter, man, that's a tough one. You shoot that thing, that weapon, and like you hit them like automatically. You would think that like if they flip in the air, you would not be able to hit them, like kind of like the sword. So I don't know, just one of those mechanics that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. We killed the enemy, so I'm good with it.
You've been going on for a while, which is okay. I had actually a little drama happening in my background here, so I was kind of letting you go there.
What do you want to address? You kind of want to address right now, even though actually we're at the boss right now, Shadow Hag. But you kind of want to address what's going on with us, like commentary-wise, behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, we're actually doing this remotely for the first time in a while, where Hick and I are, or for the first time ever, I should say, where Hick and I are not in the same like room doing this together. So we're trying to do all this online with our own separate microphones and everything. So if it sounds a little different than a lot of our prior recordings, that's what's going on.
Yeah, I just want to give you a little bit of update. Now, actually, we'll talk about the boss now. And this boss took me forever to figure out. Well, first of all, I hate those shadow circles that are going around.
Me too.
But just it took me forever because I never thought to like bounce a seed off of the wall. Like just one of those mechanics that we actually never got in a Zelda game.
It's really well done though, except every now and then those moths will like block your seed shots, and that's kind of annoying. If you wait long enough to shoot, it seems like the Shadow Hag outruns them, and that's when it allows you to hit the boss. But I do like the idea of bouncing it off the wall to hit her. I think it's a different concept, like you said.
Well, like I wasn't sure. Like you said this before we started. You think that maybe if you look at Shadow Hag, like I don't know if it's a he or she. I guess maybe. Well, I better not.
I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say a hag usually associated with like a witch.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe like it'd be like usually witches are associated with females, but we don't know the gender, so we won't go there. Go there with it, but. I think when you actually look at her or he, like they actually turn like or they like run away or something like that.
Or it faces away from you because you have to bounce it off the walls to hit it in the face. And I can't. Again, it's been a long time since we played this, so I can't remember for sure what it is. But now that we've beat the Shadow Hag and got the thing at the end, this wraps up part 14 of our Oracle of Ages walkthrough.